In a small sauce pot, you're gonna get some dried fruit. There's apricots, prunes, and figs. And about 4 prunes, maybe about 3 figs, maybe about 5 apricots. It's just a garnish for your poached pear. A nice assortment of dried fruit, and you're gonna cut them small dice. What we're gonna do is you're gonna take a little bit of apple juice and you're gonna pour enough in there just to cover. That's about how much liquid we're looking for. Poaching, we're gonna let that simmer. It should be simmering by the time we get to the poaching. But get the dried fruit simmering before you start on your pear until all of our liquid is almost gone, kind of like a syrup at the bottom. For poaching liquid over here, I have another small pot because we're gonna poach these in halves. They're hard as a rock, so they're probably gonna take anywhere from a half hour to 45 minutes to cook. Pears are in season typically in the fall. In your poaching liquid, you have a couple options. You've got apple juice, you've got wine, or you can use a combination of juice and wine. 1/3 wine, 2/3 apple juice. We'll let you use an aromatic. I have a cinnamon stick in mine as well as some black peppercorns. Now I'm going to show you how to make a cartouche. And it's a parchment paper lid. What's gonna happen is when you drop your pear in there, it's gonna wanna float. If you don't get something to kind of hold it down, you're gonna end up with your pear looking like the copper tone baby. You see, this is what's gonna happen is the white's gonna be poking up out of the wine and you're gonna end up with an uneven color on your pear. So the parchment lid, again, is just to kind of keep everything down. You have your half a piece of parchment paper. You're gonna do a little origami. So I'm going to take it and fold and make a triangle. I'm gonna end up with this little strip. Have the flat end facing you, the point facing away from you. If I were to open this thing up, this would be the center of my square. So put your finger on the center of the square. Like if you were to open it up, this would be the center. And then I want you to take the left to the right, 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock. With your left hand, keep your left hand here. Take your right hand, right? Because we want to keep the center of the square the center. It's now going to become the point. So fold that up to the top. Okay, we're going to fold one more time, almost like we're making a paper airplane. Like the point of our paper airplane is where our finger's at. Using this size pot, I want to make sure it fits on the inside. Put the center or your point and put it the center of your pot or pan. Cut it. Should be right at the edge of your pot. Open it up and it should fit right on top. To make sure it fits is I'm going to cut just a little chimney on the bottom. So when you open it up, this is what it should look like. Okay. So now we've got our poaching liquid, got our cartouche. I'm gonna show you how to prep our pear. But before I do that, I want you to come back and look at my fruit is simmering. It's like a little jacuzzi. See how the bubbles are just doing this little jacuzzi situation? Remind me again of the temperature of simmering.
185 to 205.
Poaching.
60 to 180.
Okay. Poaching 160 to 180, no bubble movement. Simmering 185, 205, like a little jacuzzi. And we all saw boiling, rapid bubble movement, 212. I wanted to show you what a simmer looks like. We do not want our fruit doing anything more than that. You also got to be careful because there's a lot of sugar in there. We don't want it to burn. So keep an eye out for you don't want all your liquid to disappear. Once your liquid is kind of almost gone, we're going to shut it out off. Should end up like a little syrup. I like to have the stem on it, and when I cut it in half, I'm going to cut it in half so I can present the half of the pear with the stem in it. But first we need to peel it. And when you peel it, it's really important to remember to make solid peels. So if you notice I'm not peeling like this because you'll be able to see that in your fruit. So if you notice I'm starting at the top and making one solid strip all the way to the bottom. Does that make sense? Make sure it's near 180 so that when you drop your fruit in there, it doesn't drop it too low. Yep. And typically when you braise or poach, that's usually what happens is that you'll take that liquid and go ahead and reduce it down and make a sauce. So what I like to do is I take 8 ounces of liquid and reduce it down to 2. How much, chef? That's how much. A couple things I want to mention when we're dealing with red wine. So remind me, what does red wine have in it that white wine does not? Tannins, right? So when you are reducing red wine, you need to do it super hot, super fast. Otherwise, it concentrates those tannins. It almost emphasizes it, right? And so instead of having this like nice smooth sauce, you literally get a sauce that will suck the moisture out of your mouth. It's like, So make sure that when you're reducing red wine, you do it super hot, super high, super fast. There's another thing that we'll get to when we talk about sauce consistency. Sauce consistency, there's a word, it's called nappe, N-A-P-P-E. So nappe means to coat in French. So when we're talking about sauce consistency, we're looking for nappe, meaning that that sauce should coat the back of my spoon. I'll be able to draw a line in it and that line should stay. So when we're wanting to know about how much sauce, you should have enough sauce on your plate to go with every single bite of whatever you're serving it with. So while this is reducing, I'm gonna get my plate ready. We're gonna serve this with our fruit. And I like them kind of sit on an angle. So all I did was kind of just shave a little bit off the bottom so it sits nice and flat.
So cute.
So if you notice, what's happening is we're reducing this wine or this poaching liquid, which is wine and apple juice, and we're reducing it down. We're evaporating water, we're concentrating flavors, and we're thickening naturally. No starch thickeners, we're doing it au naturel. Now remember also with sauces, like we talked about with our starch thickeners, they will thicken as they cool. So a lot of times you're looking at sauce and you're like, it's too loose, chef, it's too loose, it's too watery. Well, shut it off. Let it cool down a little bit. Your sauce will kind of thicken up a little bit. There's major bubbles, flames are wrapping up the sides. Normally I would never allow that to happen, but like I said, with that red wine, we want to make sure that we do it super hot, super fast. So that's about 2 ounces of liquid left. I'm gonna shut this off, let it cool down just a minute, and then we'll do our spoon test. Now I'm gonna start plating. Just do a nice little spoonful of your dried fruit. There we go. And then we're gonna sauce the bottom of our plate. And then that's why I have you do it on a plate, because there's no room to hide.